Welcome to this week's edition of Smart Counsel for Lunch. I'm Leah Kofos, and I'm one of the attorneys here at the law firm of Samuel, Sayward, and Baler in Dedham, Massachusetts, where we focus our practice on the areas of estate planning, probate, elder law, and estate and trust administration. So today I wanted to talk to you about estate tax, specifically a few different assets that are includable in your taxable estate that you might not think of, okay? Now, when I talk about your taxable estate, I'm really talking about estate tax, which is the tax, some people refer to it as a death tax or inheritance tax. It's really estate tax. And it's the tax paid after you die by your estate if all of your assets equal over $2 million, if they exceed or equal $2 million. Okay? Now, some of you might be thinking, well, $2 million, I don't have that. There's no way that I would pay an estate tax. But here's where I tell you some information that might change your mind. All right. So there are 5 assets that I'm going to be talking about today that are includable in your taxable estate for estate tax purposes that you might not think of. And at the end, I'll tell you one asset that is not includable in your estate tax for Massachusetts. Okay. So the first thing that is includable that increases the value of your estate is your life insurance. If you have a $2 million life insurance policy, you're already at that estate tax threshold, okay? So the death benefit of your life insurance policy is includable in your taxable estate. Even though you're not really getting any benefit from that, your heirs would be getting the benefit from that, okay? The second type of asset that's includable in your taxable estate is your retirement accounts. Think 401ks, IRAs, your Roths, right? All of those assets, even though they have beneficiaries named, they are still includable in your taxable estate. Now, something to think about here is that even though you've named beneficiaries, right? Say all of your assets have beneficiaries named, if that asset goes directly to those beneficiaries and there's nothing left in your estate, those beneficiaries still have to pay back the money or the portion of the money that they owe essentially for estate tax that's coming out of that asset that they've been named a beneficiary of, right? So keep that in mind as well. All right, that's one of the good reasons to have a trust. Okay, so the third asset that is included in your taxable estate is tangible personal property. Tangible personal property is any items, anything you can pick up and move around. All right, it does include cars, it includes boats. I know you can't really pick those up, but it also includes furniture, pictures, artwork, jewelry, okay? All of these assets, if you have a really, really expensive piece of art or something, jewelry wise, or if you have 10 cars, all of those are includable in your taxable estate. So they all add to the value of your estate tax, okay? The next thing is LLC interests. If you own an LLC and you have, it's a business, you have either a rental property in that LLC or you're running a business through that LLC, that LLC is countable often in your taxable estate. So keep that in mind as well, okay? Now, the last thing that is includable in your taxable estate that you might not think of is Massachusetts real estate owned by a non-resident. So if you're a New Hampshire resident, all right, permanent resident New Hampshire, you're paying tax to New Hampshire, you're living in New Hampshire, but you own a vacation home in Massachusetts, say on the Cape, okay, and that Cape house is over $2 million, then there's going to be an estate tax due in Massachusetts, even though you're not a Massachusetts resident. So keep all of that in mind. Now let's talk about one item, all right, one type of asset that is not includable in your Massachusetts estate, in your Massachusetts taxable estate, I should say. So that asset is if you're a Massachusetts resident and you own property, you own real estate outside of Massachusetts. So kind of the flip side of what I just talked about earlier. If you own a vacation home in Florida, but you're a Massachusetts resident, that Florida property is not counted towards your Massachusetts taxable estate, okay? Unless there are some caveats here, unless it's owned by a Massachusetts LLC or something like that. But if you want to hear about any of these topics, if you want to read more about your estate tax, what's included in that, you can check out the article for this week. You can also check out on our website, we have a lot of other content. We talk a lot about estate tax and income tax and all of the taxes. We talk a lot about estate planning and elder law and all of those things as well. So if you want to hear more about any of this, feel free to check out our website. But until next time, take care.